In this session, we are going to go through 3 questions with a similar requirement, similar but different requirement. And based on this difference, we will apply different loop structure to solve the issue. So let's have an overview of all these 3 questions. All these are for Joe's Pizza, your friendly neighborhood pizza shop. So Joe, who's the owner of Joe's Pizza, wants to calculate the income for the whole week. So he has each day's sales, and he wants to enter each day's income one by one into a program. After entering 7 days of income, the Java program should give him a total of the income of the week. So apparently, this is the running total issue, that you want to calculate the running total of, or just the sum of 7 different numbers. The second question is similar but different. He wants to record each transaction through the day and get the sum at the end of the day. Now, this is also a running total question, but in the previous question, you pretty much know how many data are coming. There are 7 days, so there are 7 inputs. But here, in this question, you do not know how many transactions you will have at the beginning of the day. So you will not be able to use a for loop. Instead, he would like to enter a transaction value into a program. After that, he will let computer know, which means he will input another value that whether there are more transactions to come. If he types in Y, so let's say he has $20 of sales, then he will type in Y, indicating this is not the last transaction. There will be more transactions to come. And then another transaction of $10 comes in, and he will type Y again, indicating there are more to come. At the end of the day, he will type an N. After the last transaction, he will type an N. Then the computer program will stop here, calculate the sum of sales and the exit. So this is the typical Certino value question combined with running total. You are going to give a Y or N to indicate whether there are more data or not. Now, then it comes the third question, where Joe likes the program. However, after some test runs, he feels typing additional Y for each transaction is boring. He would like to remove this step. Instead, at the end of the day, he will type a -1, assuming there is no return in Joe's Pizza. Everybody will eat everything happily. And after he types in -1, computer program should give him a sum of sales and the exit. So this is another way of doing Centino value, monitoring the input, and based on the input, decide what you want to, how the program will go. Okay, so let's start by, again, let's start by looking at the program process. We'll pretty much know what the program is to do and visualize the program running on the computer. So for this question, we will just enter day 1, sales for day 1, and you got a sales, enter sales for day 2, sales, etc., and until 7. Or then after 7 days, you will print your total weekly sales is So this will be the visualization of the first question. The second question will be enter your transaction, your sales. Let's just say sales. Is there more transactions coming? And you will type Y. And again, doing this, oops. This time is $2. Of course, this means number. I believe you should understand that. So after all these things happening, enter your sales, again, some number. Is there more transaction coming? No. Once you type in no, computer will type out your sales for today is da 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 da. Hopefully we have a lot of sales today, and then computer will say goodbye. Right. So this is the input and output visualization we should have. For the next one, as we said, it's just about entering your sales. $1 to 1 sales, 2 sales, all the way until into your sales, you input -1. That's when you will receive the message from computer program that your sales for today is so much, goodbye. Right? This is the visualization. So you can see, as you can see, the first question have 7 entries, and the next one does not have a fixed number of entries, and so is the third one. So let's start with the first one. Since we already know how many iterations we will have, we are going to use a for loop, right? So here, we're going to use for loop 7 times. Get input. Now, if once we know we want to get keyboard input of sales, we know that we need to set up scanner. So these should be things, this should be the thing that you start to thinking when you start to write your own program. At the very beginning, it will take you some time to struggle a little bit, like you start writing keyboard input, then you realize, oh, I haven't got a scanner set up. As you go into further deeper in this course, you should have the instinct. Once you start writing keyboard pseudocode, you will have the idea that you should set up scanner before. And also, once you set calculate running total into a variable called total, then you need to initialize variable total equal to 0. This is running total. You have to have an accumulator equal to 0, right? Then these two will be inside the loop, inside the for loop. So we will have an indentation, and eventually we will print out total, right? And here it will says day and day I. We say I, and your total is right. So let's start creating a class. Assignment 3, weekly sales. And let's follow the same step. Public, static, void, main, string array. And some students ask me, what did I say after string? They always hear me saying something. I'm right, I'm saying string array. This bracket, square bracket, shows this is an array. We will talk about array in a future class. Actually, it will take 1/3 of our time to learn the usage of array. So where were we? Java doc. And apparently, I'm going to copy the question text here. And we are going to provide some indentation to make that look better. Then here, we are going to have another Java doc main. And as always, let's copy the pseudocode inside. So let's start by setting up scanner, where I'm going to copy the code again. Set up a scanner keyboard and set up a variable. It should be a double. Use for loop 4 times, 7 times. How do we do that? So initialization, int I equals to 0, 1. I less than or equals to, since we start at 1, so we want to do that 7 times. You can count your fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will be 7 times. Then we increment I plus plus. Then we get this calculation inside for loop. We will get the integer enter the cells. Enter cells for day, I plus a column. Then we get the next int. Now here, let's do a little bit of calculation. Daily sales. And then you will add daily sales to total. And it should be daily sales. But as you can see, since daily sales is only used once, we don't even need it here, so we can actually if you want, you can also move this here directly. So instead of using a variable, you can directly place the keyboard input here. Here, I'm still using daily sales just to explain the logic better, but you should know that it's okay to put this input directly, to use this method directly in line. And finally, we will do a printout. Okay, now let's run. Day 1 is, let's say, 1. Day 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the end result is 28. I'm not sure whether the calculation is correct, but you can verify that. So this is the first question.